Okay, in this one, I'm going to be playing slide guitar, like a Delta blues rock style, and I'm going to take you through what is my current sort of ideal rig for that. This, like every rig, like everything we, guitarists tend to do, it chops and changes from time to time. And for this one, I thought, you don't have to have this exact gear that I've got because, I tend to use some quite niche pedals or boutique pedals, or we all have our own favorites. But at least if you don't want to buy the pedals that I've got or the amp or the guitar, you can just see how I set it up. So throughout the video, I'm going to show you the order that I sort of thought this through, what type of slide I'm using, what pedals, and how the amp is set up. But yeah, first of all, let's hear what this sounds like. Okay, this is the double cut junior Les Paul that I did a video on a few weeks back saying that it gave me something my other guitars don't, and it totally does. Since then there's been a change. I took out the stock Gibson P90, which was fine. It was a nice pickup. Overall didn't sound super old, and I had this, my mate Stuart from Sunbear and I did a swap for some things, and I've got this early mid 50s P90. Don't know the exact year, maybe a 53. It's in a modern cover that he's aged for me, but the pickup inside is from an original dog ear pickup, and it sounds fantastic. I'll play that in another video, sort of clean and various things, but yeah, I might as well tell you in here. Now, in terms of setting up this guitar, I've tuned it to open D. Apart from that, I haven't messed with anything. I haven't changed the string heights or anything like that. I want to probably put a thicker string on the top E string because I find it just caves a bit too much under the slide for me. Especially when you tune down to D. So there's probably a 10 on here. I might put a 12, but I'll play around with that. I'm planning to do more slide stuff again, like I was trying to do earlier in the year, but now I'm going to concentrate on it more. So I'll maybe do a video about how to sort of, think about setting up a guitar for slide. So anyway, love this. For slide especially, just to have that one pickup, and it just has that really open old sound to me, like an old microphone, being this old P90. But, a good P90 should have some of that character. And not too much to play around, I just concentrate on using the slide. I love the sound of the brass slide on there and different picking techniques and hand techniques to get different sounds with that Delta stuff. So, yeah, this is ideal. So I was using my main amp, which is this 100 watt 2-Rock Classic reverb. I'm not actually sure if it's in 100 or 50 watt. I'll just check. Actually, that's in 50 watt. I'm finding myself using it in 50 watt a lot more than I thought I would. It just cuts the head rub a tiny bit, maybe reduces the bassiness, which can be an issue. It's not always an issue, but it's set up like this. It's in the 2-Rock gain structure setting. That's the top one. Decent amount of reverb, but not mad. But really, for slide, I find a big open amp with a lot of headroom really allows you to use as much dynamics. You know, the slide creates a lot of dynamics in itself and a lot of noise. So I find that this works really, really well for that. But obviously, I've got some pedals going on, and they're the main part of this. You know, I could probably use different amps, whether it was Marshall based or like a, you know, an old Tweed Bassman or something. Okay, so I had the amp going clean originally, and it's pretty loud, that amp, right? So what I wanted to do was turn the amp down a bit and then use a pedal. I wasn't sure whether to use the Jam Ray or the Shanks, but I wanted a little bit of sort of more softness. I find that this Shanks has a little bit more of a harmonic sort of soft edge to it. You know, you can see I'm not using a massive amount of gain, but it just gives me more dynamics within the guitar's knob and a little bit of a soft edge. And so that works really well. And then most importantly, this absolutely epic fuzz pedal from Reeves Electro. I'm in love with this thing. So much so. This is not mine personally. They made this specially for the Pink Guitar Project, which is my charity project. If you don't know what that is, basically when my wife got breast cancer, I started a project to raise money for breast cancer charities, and we raffle things off. The next raffle is for a guitar that we've made, coming soon, very soon. But they made this out of the blue. They contacted me. Well, I've had this for about a week, and I was feeling really under the weather. I had a virus last week. It was, it was a struggle just to get out of bed or off the sofa. But coming in here and playing this a couple of times was inspirational to me. So I've set my sights on the drop where they will drop. They normally drop batches of 10 or 20 Reeves Electro for various pedals every couple of months, depending on which pedal you're looking for. I'm going to have to be quick off the mark. If you don't know what I'm talking about, literally they'll announce like they're going to drop a pedal about a few days in advance, and it's going to drop on a Saturday or Sunday evening, and literally they sell out in 30 to 40 seconds. I've managed to buy one once, and I used Apple Pay for that. It's like I had it all set up. It was just ready to go. Anyway, there will be some standalone videos on this pedal. filth, that. Love it. Okay, right. Now, both together again, just so you can hear it. Yeah, I love that. It's like really dynamic and big. I think the sound of the Darlington by itself or the Shanks by itself is great. It's so pure, and I really love that. And you maybe even feel more connected. And then when you put both together, I think that's perfect for hitting, you know, like a lead or big section in a band. So overall, I need both pedals there. But we're going to chop out the Fuzz right now for the Dominion Fuzz, which is another, you know, high-end boutique fuzz. And then after that, we're going to swap it out for the Focus Fuzz, which you can buy at Anderton's, which I really like as well. Level down from 2 o'clock to midday, but turn the fuzz up to 3/4. In the bottom end, but like softer, so it gives you a completely different vibe. Maybe it's a bit more swampy, and the Darlington is a bit harder edged. I really like both. I'm going to stick with the Darlington. I think it's just what I've got in my head right now, and the Dominion's bottom end with this massive amp, you know, I'd have to dial out a lot more bass, but yeah, another great choice. So any fuzz phase really will give you that. It's, you know, a bit more saggy, And this silicon one transistor Reeves is a bit more hard edged and a bit more, in your face, which I really like. Right, let's try the Focus Fuzz. Yeah, that's really fun to play with. It's got a nice sort of softer feel to it. It doesn't have quite the presence in the room or the sort of massive grit of the Darlington, which just sounds really, really, it's like a unique sounding and feeling thing to me. It's got, as I said, quite a hard edge, but it just feels, yeah, it's really special, that Darlington Flyer. I need to do a more in-depth video just about that pedal to sort of get around to how I can describe it. The Dominion Fuzz is great. It's got its own thing. It's quite a modern feeling pedal in relative terms, which I think suits slide really well. The bottom end is big, but overall the tone is just gorgeous and swampy in the mid-range. So I love that. And yeah, the Focus Fuzz works really, really well. I would be happy to play that all day long. So this slide rig for me is just absolutely awesome. It feels sort of like pared back as far as I'd go. A fuzz, an overdrive, obviously an amp and a guitar and a slide. The one thing I was thinking of adding would be a delay, which would just give you that big feeling. But I sort of feel like, I did that in my baritone slide rig video where I had the delay, and that works for that. It's a more modern thing and it's a bit bigger. But for this one, I wanted to make it feel a bit older. And I think it does that, like without having that massive over bigness, which is a bit more of a modern thing, that aerial posing or whoever you want to think of like that. But yeah, actually, any fuzz of your choice, doesn't really matter how much it costs, with an amp that's either a bit overdriven or an overdrive like this, and I think you're good to go. And I'm planning on doing a video just exploring how to start with slide, open tuning slide, especially in open D, which I'm playing at the moment. I give private lessons as well, so I started putting my email address in the description. If you're interested, I teach several beginners on a sort of weekly or twice monthly basis, but I also teach people who are more intermediate, who in many cases even have, more experience or skills than I do, but are interested in blues, Delta blues, and that sort of thing, as well as slide like this. But also, just to sort of, put myself out there, I have a background. Part of what I used to do was I was a personal trainer who ran a business. And so coaching is part of my background. So another thing I do is, rather than a sort of lesson in the traditional sense, I sort of catch up with people on every month or so, sometimes months to 6 weeks. And we sort of talk about what their goals are, where they want to get to. And I help push them in the right direction, either through things that I play or things that I can think of with them. Now, that's maybe a slightly creative approach to doing guitar lessons. So I offer both types, more specific lessons and then more coaching sort of stuff. It's not overly expensive, being that it's done via video calls. So yeah, if you wanted to set up a video call with me to discuss, sometimes if you feel like you're in a rut, you just don't know what the next move is. And having an outside sort of viewpoint on that can help. So anyway, my email's in the description. Hope you enjoyed the sounds on this one. I'll just play out with a little bit more. And then in the next video about Open D slide, you can learn more about how to sort of start that for yourself. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one. Cheers.